That was bad. That was bad. Oh, that's bad all around. That is just... Look, if the Connecticut Sun are going to score 93 points, you will lose every single time. That is awful. And if you agree that it was awful, subscribe. We're trying to hit 36.4k by the end of the day. That was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing game from start, not even from start to finish. It was just an embarrassing second half from the Fever. They pulled it back. Like when Caitlin Clark went and made those 2 3-pointers, they got it back. She had a terrible game, but when she made those 2 3-pointers to get it back to a 6-point game, you're thinking it's a ball game. And then, no, you're just going to leave shooters wide open. They're going to leave. The defensive tactic of leave them open and pray they miss is the most pathetic tactic in basketball I have ever seen. And we've seen that from the season for the Fever. This is not just a one-game thing. This was even when they were winning. Even when they were winning. If you can look back on all of these videos, you can look back, heck, I have a preview of, I think, coming out of the Olympic break. And I'm like, Sides does not have a defensive plan. She's talking about her defense. It was like, hopefully, they will no longer go out there with the tactic of leave them open and pray they miss. But they went out with the tactic of leave them open and pray they miss. A pathetic, and I mean this, pathetic performance from 1 through 5 for the Indiana Fever. Lexi Hall didn't do anything wrong, but she just didn't do anything right either. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell were both bad. Kelsey Mitchell made a couple of shots in garbage time to make it look like she did a little bit better than she did. Kelsey Mitchell was bad. Aaliyah Boston, what happened to screening and short rolling? What happened to the pre-Olympic pick and roll game that had become one of the most dangerous things in the WNBA? What happened to it? She stopped setting screens. She has stopped setting screens. She doesn't short roll anymore. She does what she used to do and screen, make no contact, just drift to nowhere. What happened to the Aaliyah Boston that was looking like one of the best centers? What happened to that important Aaliyah Boston? And Caitlin Clark, what the hell was that? Just what was that game? What was it? I get it. Poked in the eye. It is what it is. Bad first half. I said this on my stream, and I said, if she comes out and she shoots the ball 9 more times in the second half, it's on her. Yes, she had 11 points. Yes, she had 2 big shots in a row. Clearly the eye was affecting her, but that's not an excuse for shooting constant 30-footers. I'm sorry. The one thing that's going to be off when your eye is at you is your depth perception. Is you're shooting the ball from deep. Why were you not driving? Drive to the basket. Drive to the basket. Make some passes. You could still pass the ball. Your passing was fine. Outside of like one bad turnover in the break and a couple of turnovers caused fully by Aaliyah Boston. And also, I don't hate it, eye for an eye. Caitlin Clark was so lucky. She was so lucky. She hit Dejanay Carrington with a spinning back fist. Like, she could have been tossed. She genuinely could have been tossed. Like, and whatever about the Dejanay Carrington one, me saying the only person that knows where Dejanay Carrington one was intentional was Carrington, that was intentional by Clark. She could have been tossed. She probably should have been. Like, you could argue, it should have been a flagrant one. She could have been tossed. If she got tossed in her first playoff game, like, there's no need. There's no need. Like, you were putting yourself in a situation. Well, I said this in it. I was like, I think the refs are going to let this game go overly physical. People are going to complain. And then you're going to see a game refed much better in the next game because the referees are going to be told, yeah, you got to stop. You got to call this like it's a basketball game. And that was what happened. And then you go and hit her with a freaking spinning back fist. You got fouled. The referee made the call. You don't need to turn around and elbow her in the face. Caitlin Clark was very lucky. Very, very lucky. And I get it. Frustration is frustration. But don't take it out on somebody. Like, a different ref sees that. Probably a flagrant one was the right call, but a ref could very easily see that, toss you from the game, and not undo the call. There was not enough to reverse a getting tossed. On the Connecticut Sun side, Alyssa Thomas was fine. She had her 12, 10, 13 triple-double. She had her Draymond triple-double, or a Ben Simmons triple-double. In the first half, she hit a couple of shots. She was, I think she was 6 of 8 or something from the field, and then missed her last 7 shots. Again, they literally left her wide open from 7 feet from the basket. She just made a couple of shots that weren't layups, missed a few layups. But all in all, defensively, she was good. Dejanay Carrington, I said it in my preview, if Dejanay Carrington outplays Caitlin Clark, it's over. Dejanay Carrington outplayed Caitlin Clark. Late in that game, as a 10-point game, Caitlin Clark launches it to Temi Fagbenle. Temi has a chance at a layup. Goes slow. Swatted by Dejanay. Bree Jones was fine. She didn't do anything, really. She just went around fouling people. Ty Harris, hopefully, touch wood, she's okay. Nelson Adoda, I thought was really good off the bench. Burton, I know she shot well, but I didn't really notice much. But look, if you're going to leave it, if you're going to shoot over 50% from the three, and Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are going to shoot a combined 2 of 20 or 4 of 23, you're going to lose every time. Like, Dantas, as good as Dantas shot the ball, Damiris Dantas is the slowest player I've ever seen, and she is the worst defender I've ever seen. Damiris Dantas cannot grab a rebound if it is, like, if, say, I'm here. The ball is going to land where I am right now. If Damiris Dantas is here, she will not grab that ball. It's going to somebody else. Everything Damiris Dantas does is slow. She plays slow. She is slow. She's not sharp, but she can shoot the ball, so shouldn't have 23 minutes. And I don't understand why Nalissa Smith plays so few minutes. I didn't think she was that bad. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you started to play her 8 minutes when she actually didn't play badly. Especially when I thought Temi really struggled today. And I also thought Damiris Dantas was really bad today. And yeah, overall in all, from the Fever perspective, I'm annoyed Caitlin Clark started chucking. I'm really annoyed she kept chucking. She clearly wasn't right. It is what it is. The shooting percentages can be tossed off to, or a lack of scoring can be like passed off as, okay, yeah, she couldn't really see. But that's not an excuse for shooting the ball 17 times. It's not. Like, she was in no state to shoot that ball 17 times. She shot it 17 times. That is a waste. Find out ways of getting the ball to your teammates. Do all the little things. Push the floor. Do something. But shot chucking was not the move when you can't freaking see. That was not the move. An embarrassingly bad game from Indiana. Christy Sides, don't get me started on Christy Sides. Don't get me started on her. Like, she wouldn't call... She didn't... I don't think she called timeout in the second half. Until they were down 21 points. Like... Look, the Sun are not going to shoot like that again. Alyssa Thomas is not going to be making jump shots again. Marina Mabry is not going to... She might cook like that again, but they're not going to make everything again. The problem is that these teams have played 5 times, and Dejanay Carrington has outperformed Caitlin Clark 4 out of 5 times. Arguably, 5 out of 5. You can make the argument that Caitlin Clark has been outplayed 5 out of 5 times. Again, I've said this, the Fever don't have a chance against the Lynx, but I said at least if the Lynx played the Fever, it would be a fun game to watch. The Connecticut Sun's job is to make sure they play puke basketball. They don't play basketball half the time. They don't really have any good offenses. They just maul you on defense. They try to drag you down into a grit and grind game, and the Fever will not win that game. The Fever need to impose themselves on the Sun, and too many times Fever have allowed the Sun to impose themselves on them. And with the way the Sun are playing, if the Sun can hold the Fever need to score 80 points. The Sun will not drop more than 80 in another game in this series. They just won't. But the Fever will not win a game scoring 69. Fever are going to need to drop between 80 and 85 points. But again, things change if in that game Caitlin Clark goes 4 for 13 or Mitchell goes 4 for 10. Like, that changes. That changes things, but it was awful. That was absolutely awful.